Hi everyone, and welcome back to Sally's Sweet Life. I am your host Sally, and today I'm kind of going to be your teacher mentor as I talk and review the most recent release out of Body Balance United or Body Flow United. Well, that's what it's called this time, and you know what? It's the first time that they've actually used a word to describe the title of any one of their releases. But it's united in that in every single program. So if you're doing Body Pump, it'll be Body Pump United, Body Jam United. And it's a little bit different, but I'm a little bit curious as to find out what's going to happen in the next release, because this one should be Body Balance or Body Flow number 90. So I'm curious as to whether or not it's going to be 90 or a 91 or maybe another word, but we'll just have to wait and see. In this particular review, I talk about how this one is different to past releases that we've seen. Also, what are the key focuses? What are the choreographers thinking? And what do they want us to really feel in each track? So this is a beautiful, quite internally focused release that is jam-packed full of 10 tracks, including 2 warm-up tracks, 1A and 1B, and also a bonus track at the end, which is a Tai Chi warm-up. And yes, yet again, they've given us in the actual release warm-up, it's yoga warm-up. This is the second time they've done that in a row, but the yoga warm-up, and you know, I'm kind of seeing a lot of people talking about it and a little bit confused, and why they're doing the yoga warm-up. Rightly so. For 20 years, they've been promoting a program that is Tai Chi, yoga and Pilates based, and to rip out the Tai Chi in the very forefront of the release is questionable, and it's so well liked. I wonder if they really know that. I mean, I'm sure they do. In the past, the first time that I can see, going back through my notes, release number 79 was the first time that we saw a yoga warm-up. It was always a bonus track, and actually the yoga warm-up has been a part of 9 different releases. The last 2, United and 89, was right at the very forefront, so it was part of the actual release. Now it'll be interesting to see what they do. So let's talk about the release as a whole. The music I found to be really pleasant. Nothing really stood out for me in terms of great musical pieces. Nothing really excited me, but it was really pleasant. And none of it really irked me. So it was a little bit meh, a little bit mediocre. And also actually with the choreography and the moves, there were no new moves. There wasn't anything really, really challenging. Actually, I'll tell you some of the feedback that I've got so far from my classes is that the first time they've done it is, you know, I wasn't really challenged. So teachers, make sure you're giving your classes those wonderful advanced options, because you can absolutely make this release really work in your favor in terms of intensity. So if I was to rate this particular release out of a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being absolutely flawless, I'd probably give it around a 6.5. It's just a little bit on the meh side. And, you know, credit where it's due, they're still producing like fabulous programs and fabulous releases under the shadow and the blanket of isolation. Let's journey on and have a look at some of these tracks. Track 1A, like I mentioned, is the yoga warm-up, and I'm so glad that it's a little bit more involved. It flows beautifully. It's a little bit longer than in the last release, number 89, which I felt was a little bit on the cooler side. No, this one really delivers. And it's the first time ever we can see Hindi squat making an appearance in a warm-up track. I mean, that's a big pose, and it's 2.5 minutes into the whole class. And there's a part of me that questions whether or not that's an okay thing to do, given that it's such a strong pose. So teachers, if you're looking for a really cool tip on how to introduce Hindi squat, given that it's such an intense pose, into your class, and some great options, check out for my new videos coming out, which is going to walk through every single pose in chronological order. There's no music, of course, but it gives you a great opportunity to really learn how does this work, what are the right things to do, and what are the not so great things to do. So keep a lookout for that. Track number 1B is actually one of my favorite tracks. I really like it. It's super short. It's only 1 minute and 12 seconds long. It's all about spinal awakening, which I really like. And it's a beautiful flow of moves to a happy, very welcoming track in terms of the music. So teachers, you can really play to the musical lyrics of that particular track. Track 2 is a sun salutation track, and traditional sun salutation is learning a sequence of moves and repeating them over, maybe 4, 6 or 8 times. We've done that loads in the past 89 releases, and this one is no different. However, it's quite a long track and there are 3 blocks of work. That more traditional sequence repetition is at the very end of this track, and the beginning 2 blocks, it's more disjointed. So we start with some beautiful lunges and 3 dogs to warm into your back and hips and open up right into the torso, which is fantastic. The second block is short and it's consumed with striking cobras. I know, we've got them again. There are 4 of them, and for teachers and participants, quite a challenge. Because there are only 4 and they move quite quickly, it's quite hard for us teachers to be able to deliver great options because there are more than 4 options in this particular pose. If you want to know more about that, I'm going to dive into it in the walkthrough video, so please have a look at that. And if you simply can't wait and you want to get on top of the striking cobra and making it feel good for you, check this video right here. I've already done a little bit of a how to get the most out of this pose and what option is best. It's a tricky one. But all up, it's a beautiful warming track, track 2. Track 3 is a standing strength track, and this particular track is all about building strength into the legs and building some length into your upper body. They have 2 massive big blocks of work in this track, and the focus is on leg foundation and spinal alignment. So what that means is, if you're in a warrior 2, let's say for example, your shoulder and hip are aligned and your legs are rock solid, like they're in cement. But if you slightly start to lean your torso back toward the back leg, let's say, you're forming a C shape through the spine, so we're changing the spinal alignment and we transform into the beautiful sun warrior. That's the focus. How are we changing the alignment of your spine to change the feel and intensity of these poses? So 2 big blocks, one on the right leg, one on the left, with a sneaky little balance at the end, and it's quite a nice track that delivers some great warming and strengthening moves. Track number 4 is a balance track, and this track also delivers a very similar focus as number 3. So in the third track. So the third track was the foundation and spinal alignment. In track 4, the focus is on creating, how do we create that foundation kind of when we're on one leg, right? So it's all about stability and drawing everything into the midline of your body to feel comfortable and strong, even though perhaps your world is spinning. That's a really good thing to think about in these times. So it teaches us how to do that. It's also the second time that they've used music from a James Bond movie. So in this track, it's the theme track to the new James Bond movie, which actually hasn't even been released yet. It's going to be coming out in November, so I've been told. But it's a really strong and powerful track, and teachers really want to make the most out of the music by just letting the music speak. So I'm hoping that you can do that and that we all get to feel the power of this beautiful piece of music. Track number 5 is hip openers. It's a massive long track, and actually it's my favorite out of the whole release. Why? Because it's a long holding yoga poses, and I just love that. 2 big blocks of work. 3 moves in the first block, everything on the right leg, and then we repeat everything on the left leg. The focus that the choreographers were thinking in this particular track is really becoming internal, and that's perfect for the structure of this program because we've had all of this energy of outward energy and warming, and then we come into hips and it's down on the ground for the first time, we're seated, and everything becomes more softer and more internally focused. And that's what the focus is in this particular track. So there are long holding poses which gives us beautiful time to be able to really sit in the pose, to really surrender into the pose, to find the depths, to find the breath. It really works. And we actually repeat this same feel later on in the class. I'll remind you about that. Track number 6 is core abdominals. I like this track. We kind of take a bit of a happy trip to Rio de Janeiro. It's a very calypso, beautiful piece of music. The focus in this track is definitely on our lower abdominal floor, so there are lots of little lifts and opportunities to really burn deep down. I love that. And also loads of cross crawls, so perfectly shaping our waistline. This one really delivers. It's not a really long track, but it really delivers the intensity punch that we're looking for in our core Pilates work. In track 7, it's still in our core, we're working into our back. This is an interesting track. It has 3 blocks of work. The focus normally in this track is on back strength and back mobility. The first 2 blocks of work are identical to each other, so it's a sequence we learn and then we repeat. It's all on strengthening your back muscles, and it is super, super intense. The one thing I do love is that we're returning into dolphin pose and we stay in there for a really, really long amount of time. If you're not familiar with dolphin, it's a little bit like down dog, but on our forearms, and it's a fabulous opportunity to really build some strength in our upper body. I'm definitely going to be going through this pose intricately in my walkthrough videos, so have a little bit of a listen, because dolphin is a fantastic opportunity to release tension in your neck. So if you've got a sore neck, check my walkthrough and I'll teach you exactly how to get it right so it relieves all of that tension if you have any. Now, here's the thing with this track with me, is that we do 2 big blocks of work, really strong. At the end of each of those blocks, we're coming into iguana pose for a lengthy amount of time with feet lifted and upper body lifted. So it's like you're bending into a bit of a banana shape. That's really strong in the lower back. Straight after those 2 blocks, we're going into bow pose, which is again bendy, okay? And I really, really feel like we need a counter pose like child pose after all of that strength work. So I kind of sneak one in there and then I go into a bow pose. I'd be really interested to hear any teachers or any participants in the comments below what you think about that particular component of the class and the choreography. I just think it's really too strong. But thank God, track 8 is twists and it starts with a child pose. So we do get that counter pose in there eventually. The twist track starts with lunging, a little bit of a hamstring stretch, but lunge twists to really open the spine, and also it finishes with a really challenging balancing twist. It's just challenging for everyone, that sort of stuff. Loads of different options, a really nicely balanced track in fact. Track 9 is our last working track in this release, and it delivers the longest track in the entire release. I think it's like a little over 7 minutes long. Like in track 5, beautiful long holding poses that really deliver perfect opportunities to internalize and go deep. I love the way this one's choreographed in terms of structure. We start on the floor, we finish on the floor. There's none of this standing up or anything like that. It's a beautiful transition from twisting when we're standing up in the end and we come all the way down to the floor and we lay down in this track. The focus here is definitely to surrender and also to kind of repose the pose. I talk about that when I'm teaching yoga. So we get into a pose, we make slight adjustments, slight changes in the pose to repose the pose, to feel it in a different way, to delve deeper, so you can bring breath in, you can bring in a complete blanket of surrender. And that's what this track is all about. It's great music, really enhances the feel and the surrendering pull. I think you really like it. It's one of my favorites. Track 10 is our relaxation track. Yet again, they've chosen to do a piano-based instrumental, and I'm just hoping that they can kind of bring a little bit more variety into the music in these types of tracks. They've just had the piano going for a really long time. They used to do these beautiful synthesizers, sometimes Asian-themed music, very zen-y, sometimes Indian. Let's get back into that, Les Mills. Let's get back into a little bit more variety. In the Tai Chi warm-up option, everything that you really want and everything that we expect of a Tai Chi warm-up. Lots of flow, lots of warmth, great music. And I love that they've put this in there. God help us if they don't, right? If they give us a yoga warm-up and they don't give us that Tai Chi option, there's going to be a few flustered people out there. But all in all, yep, for me, 6.5 out of 10. Please come and visit me for the walkthrough so I can teach you how to get the best out of these poses. Teachers as well, some little sneaky little tips, and participants. I'm just hoping that you enjoy it. And that's it. That's the entire release, all in a nutshell review. If you're still doing Les Mills on demand and you're doing your body balance or body flow classes still there, you won't see or hear any of the music from this release for another 6 months' time. So if you can, and you really want to do this release and probably 89, come on back to the gym. Come and join us back in the classes for some group fitness. And if you're keen to have a look at my walkthrough videos that'll be coming out soon, all you need to do is subscribe and you'll be notified. But if you want an email notification on when I'm uploading any new video anytime soon, just press the little grey bell and you're there. Until then, stay well everybody, and I'll see you soon. Bye.